iRock Radio, the world headquarters of rock. It's Mike Karolyi in Studio 64 with our friends, Gemini Syndrome. How are you guys?
Doing all right. How are you?
I'm doing well. Welcome to the world headquarters of rock, Farmington, Connecticut. You've probably never been to Farmington, Connecticut.
It's the world headquarters.
Yeah.
Good to know.
This is where all rock stars have to check in before they venture out and do the rock star stuff.
Ah. Okay, well, I'm glad we're here then.
Yeah, see, you didn't know that before.
I didn't know I was a rock star.
Well, now you are. Now that you've been here.
Now that I've been here.
Now
it's
you are.
official.
Right. So tell us about Gemini Syndrome. To those who don't know, who maybe are just becoming aware of you, kind of, maybe it's even hard to describe it because you guys are in the band, but describe the band to a new fan.
We're a band based out of Los Angeles. We just released our second full-length record. We're like hard rock, alternative metal, spiritual, god metal.
That's nice.
Yeah, dude.
There are so many of those bands.
I like that.
Yeah, if you could just throw something on the green screen to really
Just put
visualize
God up
that.
there.
Scroll the words right by, right?
Yeah, just the universe.
We could do that. So
Supernova.
tell us how Gemini Syndrome has evolved, let's say, from album 1 to the recent album.
The second record is part of a trilogy. We're telling the story of the human condition. The first record was about birth and coming of age and kind of figuring out your place in the world. And this record is very much about kind of the being in the middle of it and the experiences that come with it and getting older and recognizing your mortality and understanding that you're not going to be here forever. You know, in my 20s or my late teens, I thought I was, immortal and invincible. And you get a little older and you realize that people start passing away and you lose people you loved, and every moment here is precious. So that's really where this record has come. And I think it got more mature as far as the musicality of it. We did a little more experimentation with crazy vocal harmonies and different chord progressions and stuff like that or whatever. And record 3 will be about death.
Before you got to this point, before you got this far along, was your vision of album 2 what it turned out to be?
Yeah, I think it surpassed it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it took on a life of its own in a sense, but we knew what direction we wanted to go into. But then we got Chuck and Dan, and they came in at the tail end of the process and just added some really cool flavors, and it became, surpassed it. It became something cooler than we thought we had in the first place.
So you're talking about, mortality and, realizing as you get older that you only have right now, are the words you live by to some degree, not live like there's no tomorrow, but in a sense?
Yeah, it's kind of a dualistic thing. That's an awesome feedback going on there. You have to be in the moment and be present, but then also appreciate that you might still have more time. It's not like live fast, die hard, let's party all day.
Right.
But at the same time, you don't want to be too scared to experiment with life and experience, the gift that we have to be here, to be alive. Just the fact that we have an existence at all, I think, is an amazing thing.
Are you afraid to die?
Sometimes.
What scares you about it?
I don't know what comes after.
Right. The unknown.
And I'm a religious or spiritual person. I believe in an afterlife, but just the idea of not knowing exactly what that entails. Is it still going to be Aaron in the afterlife? Am I still going to be conscious of my identity or whatever? That terrifies me. Or do I just become stardust?
What inspired you to do a trilogy?
Freemasons.
The Illuminati.
Star Wars?
Aliens.
Star Wars.
Star Wars. The Lord of the Rings.
It worked for them.
It worked for Lucasfilm. Gotta work for us, right?
Well, I will say, here at iRock Radio, we've been playing Remember We Die. And really from one of our very first plays, early on, first week even, we started getting feedback from listeners that there's just something about the song, whether it's lyrical content or just the overall sound of the song, really attracts people. It's something it's hard to not listen to once it starts. So how does it make you feel when you're getting feedback from fans? Now that you've written the 2 albums, they're out, the songs are on the radio, and you're getting feedback. Is it ever awkward, or is it always humbling? Do you know what I mean?
It's humbling and uplifting at the same time. I think it reminds us why we do this, because it's not necessarily the easiest lifestyle to have. You know what I mean? Being away from home and traveling in, not the most ideal conditions sometimes, but pretty much every show and every day I'll get an email or I'll have somebody come up to me and say that this music has helped them through a hard time or has changed their life in some positive way. And it's like, I think everybody here is trying to find their purpose and trying to find out why they're here. What's the whole point of even being alive? And for me personally, like having those experiences, that's the reason, that's the point. When I get that feedback, when we get that feedback, just the other day there was a younger gentleman, he's probably preteen or whatever, and he was an aspiring drummer, and I watched him talk to Brian for 20 minutes, and that kid's eyes were just like lit up, like Christmas trees, and he was so excited. And that kid might go on to be a broke musician too,
Well, we all have our hopes and dreams.
You too. You
What
too
advice
could eat
would you
pilot
give
station
someone?
food.
Like my son, that reminds me of my son. He's 14. He loves playing drums, and he's been playing for about a year and a half. What advice would you give someone like him or anyone, keyboards, drums, guitars?
I think if you really, really have a passion for it, then you just need to hone your craft and become as good as you can and keep fighting the good fight. If it's a hobby for you, then enjoy it. I think music is a gift to the world in that sense. I know a lot of people that don't play in bands or whatever, but they play instruments, and it's a big deal for them, and it's a good therapeutic release. And it's great to create things. It's great to create sound. And there's something about music I think that's honestly magical, that it can communicate ideas that you might not be able to do through a movie or a book or a conversation. There's just there's something core about it that hits people in the soul. So if it's something you really want to do, just expect a hard road, because it's not easy. You got to fight for it. I think everybody up here has been doing this for a long, long, long time. And to get where we are is a blessing, even in the most difficult times. But you have to want it. And you have to expect that it's work. It's not like I'm going to be in a band and be a rock star and I'm going to be rich and then I'm going to retire. It ain't like that. That's just not the reality of the world we live in. It'd be the same thing like, I'm just going to be a doctor. Like, no, you're going to go to school for 11 years and you're going to stress yourself out trying to figure out the physiology of the body. And, it'd be like, it's going to happen. So it's not, you got to learn your instrument. You got to learn other instruments. You got to learn the science behind music, and then also meld that with the culture and the spirit of it too, because it's not just mechanical, There's 2 elements to it, and they have to be combined, like a Gemini Syndrome. Bam!
Boom!
I got jokes for days.
And you've said you've been doing this for many years, practicing your craft, working on it. And would you say, I think I know the answer, but I asked the question, would you say it's been worth it to this point?
Yeah.
The time, the sacrifice?
Yeah, I would.
Yeah.
I've met so many amazing people. I have amazing, this is my family, These guys, I love all these guys. I think we all love each other, even when we're mad at each other. But we love each other, and it's just a beautiful thing to be able to go out with people that you care about and influence and help people and entertain them. And I don't punch a time card. You know what I mean? I don't have to be up at 6:30 in the morning. Well, not every day anyway. Sometimes. Thank God we're doing this at 3 in the afternoon and not 7 a.m. because Lord knows we've done that. But it's not, we get to travel, we get to see the world, we get to meet a ton of people, and we get to do what we love. So yeah, it's absolutely been worth it.
Name the album or song that changed your life.
Sober by Tool. When I was 14, I was dating a girl. She made me a mixtape, if anybody remembers what those are. And it had Soundgarden on it. It had Tool on it. Had a bunch of other stuff. And I remember hearing that. This is awesome. The first record I had was Stone Temple Pilots' Core. I stole it from my sister, as well as Dr. Dre's The Chronic. So I'm totally gangster. But those are my earliest memories of like rock music. I've been playing since I was a little kid. You know, I played piano growing up, like classical and jazz stuff. But really like contemporary music and rock music. Those are the ones that really kind of hit home.
Okay. Let's do